You know, I've got an opinion on this one. It's pretty big news, and I just kind of want to break it down. Let's talk about KBF and FLW. Hey, what's going on? It's Matt. It's Monday, the 11th. And if you're a kayak bass fishing man or woman, you already have probably read or heard the news or seen the real quick YouTube video that Chad Hoover put out about FLW and KBF kind of getting along a little bit is the best way to put it. I'm going to kind of read some of the information that's been put on KBF's website about this. So I'm going to slap on the glasses real quickly. So, just to kind of summarize it, 2 events will be held in conjunction with FLW and KBF. The Lake Chickamauga FLW and the Lake Hamilton FLW. Now, one of the things that really needs to be kind of pointed out here is that you will not be fishing on Chick or Hamilton if you're in KBF. You'll be fishing in a lake that is close by, and if you want to walk on that stage at FLW, which is what kind of like the hype is, like, you know, FLW is kind of touting itself as the most media covered fishing tour in the United States. I would argue with that, specifically with the rise of MLF right now. Candidly, I think FLW has been going this way, and Bassmaster, you know, Classic, and, you know, the Elite Series, and MLF obviously is going this way. Bassmaster's probably saying this way. But FLW, for quite some time, I believe, it has been going downhill. So the partnership makes sense. They're kind of tapping into a whole new marketplace. But what they're really doing is they're just kind of building up a hype around it. And I'll get into some more details about this real quickly, but I want to touch upon that first point. This is going to be in conjunction, 2 events this year, Chick and Hamilton, that are FLW events. Running concurrently at the same exact time are going to be the KBF events at different nearby lakes. One of them is called Nickajack Lake, and they don't mention the other one in the press release. So, you know, KBF has grown such a phenomenal amount, and I commend Chad Hoover for creating this environment, right? I don't belong to KBF anymore. I stopped fishing tournaments for a couple reasons, and I'm going to touch upon this in here as well. So I'm not a seasoned veteran kayak, you know, tournament angler. Like, I don't go to all the tournaments. Last year I think I did 2. The year before that I did like 5. But that was before KBF got involved with my local kind of club, Yakabass. And Yakabass had been around for a long time. It was run very, very smoothly. Of course, there were hiccups, but like the entry fees, and that's what I want to talk about right now, the entry fees for those tournaments were like, I don't know, anywhere from $25 to $45. Very, very manageable and reasonable. Now, when KBF kind of took over and we became, Yakabass became kind of an affiliate for KBF, the fees went up. And the argument there is, or the rationale behind that was, now you don't have to worry about liability insurance. KBF will cover the kayak liability insurance, which means if somebody dies or gets hurt on the lake, nobody can sue Yakabass. It's not insurance for the angler, don't get it wrong if you don't understand that. It's insurance for the organization. So tournament fees went up. That was one of the reasons why they had mentioned that, and why Lake Berryessa was so expensive. And then also, too, to fish those events now, our local club tournaments, you have to be a member of KBF, which is $50 on top of the entry fee. I'm going somewhere with this. So now, in order to fish the affiliated events, one, just so you know, West Coast anglers, there's only 2, and they're not even coming close to the West Coast this year. It's now a $200 entry fee for the Open, right, just to get in and fish it, which I'm assuming that since it's an Open, everybody can fish it. There's got to be some sort of cap on it, though, I would assume. So it's $200, and the top 100 anglers out of there basically go on to the next event, which is at the Lake Hamilton sister lake, right? The top 20%, which means 20 anglers, get free entry. The other 80 are paying $500 just to fish it. Now, this is kind of where I want to tap into everything. Like, so kayak bass fishing, not the organization, but as a sport, as a recreational activity, a lot of us got into it because it was a cost-effective way to get onto the water. Tournaments provided an environment that was really, really kind of like built this camaraderie, and people really dug into it. But it wasn't overpriced and it wasn't expensive. And the thing about what's happening now is that the national tournament, which is happening at the end of this month, the national championship, I should say, at the end of this month in Louisiana for KBF, I know tons of guys from my local community that are going. Good luck, guys out there. I'm sure you'll just have a blast. And all these guys have jobs, right? They all have good jobs. They all support their families. They're good people. They're taking time off to kind of go fish this because it's a big deal to them. Now, when you start doing events like this, you just can't pick up and go over and over again. And let's be honest here. The only people that are getting paid by KBF are KBF employees, or they're basically doing partnerships with FLW, and they're getting paid some other way, and this is their livelihood as a whole. But for the general angler, we all have 9-to-5ers or whatever shifts you work. Taking off that much time to really be a competitive fisherman is near impossible. FLW, just so everybody knows, is kind of run the same way. If you have an opportunity, take a look at their series called Circuit Breaker. It highlights the freshman year or the rookie year of a new angler. They've done one on Mark Daniels Jr., but in one of those episodes, JT Kenny kind of made a brief appearance. And they were talking about living on the road and paying for expenses. And JT Kenny was very, very, very clear on this. He says, I still have a construction job. He's a professional angler. I need the construction job to pay my bills because this is such, it can be very lucrative, but it can't not be. So, you know, what's going on here really is, I think that there's going to be this huge delineation in the kayak fishing community. And this is just my opinion. That's why it's my 2 cents. That really is going to say, okay, you're either a tournament angler in KBF or you're not a tournament angler in KBF or FLW, whatever they're going to call the new organization. I don't think they're going to change names, but I see this stuff happening. And lastly, you know, it's just kind of like, if money is an issue for, you know, getting into the tournaments, $500 is not attainable for a lot of people. You know, if you look on any kind of Facebook forum about buying a new kayak, most people's budgets are around $1,000, to be honest with you. And that's why videos that, you know, Headwaters does, you know, best fishing kayaks under $1,000. That's why people are drawn to that stuff, because it's cost effective. And then I also think for a new kayak angler that if you don't get involved in the tournament scene, whether it be your local club or KBF, you're almost kind of left out. I really firmly believe this stuff because I've seen it happen. Like, oh, if I want to hang out with these guys and learn all this stuff and get information from them, everybody pushes tournaments that's a tournament junkie. And I think this is going to change a lot of people's opinions on it. I just think it's too damn expensive to go fish a tournament. I think there's too many rules right now. I think there's too many DQs. I heard a lot of guys at Berryessa didn't check in, so they got everything DQ'd. It's like they weren't even there. And they didn't check in because they skunked, or whatever it may be. So they're getting points to the Angler of the Year. All these rules, like, let's be honest here, fishermen just in general, we don't like rules. Most of us are, you know, assholes in a good way, right? And so this announcement to me is just kind of, it's just leaving a really bad taste in my mouth. It really, really is. The sport is growing, and there seems like this huge push to take it to, you know, like this professional level. I don't think any of us like have the delusion that kayak bass fishing is going to feed our families. It just doesn't work that way. All those FLW guys, that's why I mentioned JT Kenny, you're still going to be holding down your job. What will probably happen if you get heavily involved is you'll probably lose your relationship with whoever you're living with, whether it be your wife, your girlfriend, your kids, whatever, because you're going to want to be doing all this stuff, and you'll probably go $6-7 grand in a year, because let's just forget about the tournament fees. Like actually getting there, paying for your gas, paying for your lodging, paying for all this stuff, the booze while you're there, right? It's just it's getting to the point where it's not affordable anymore to be a tournament fisherman for kayak bass. You know, I think that like there's just this need to, we got to grow the sport. We got to grow the sport. I got another my 2 cents coming about growing the sport. I think it's kind of just taking this kind of lopsided approach, and people are just jumping on a bandwagon when it comes to videos and YouTube and stuff like that. But I don't want to get off too far off topic for what I want to talk about here. In my opinion, it's fluff. It really, really is. You're kind of, KBF is actually helping FLW out more than they know. Because I mentioned before, I think FLW is going, and I just think MLF with that format is going that way. So partnershiping with KBF makes total sense. The last thing that I do want to say is that when the announcement was made, there was a very short one minute video that was made, and the VP of operations for FLW said something that really just irked me really, really badly. It was, we're really happy to be partnering with Chad Hoover and KBF. Now, look, Chad started KBF. This is not against Chad. But what that sounds like to me is Chad got some money to do this that the KBF community will never see, right? And God bless him. This is not coming after Chad, trust me. But the way that it's phrased, excited not to be working with KBF as an organization, Chad Hoover specifically. Chad probably did the deal. Absolutely. He has every right to. God bless him for it. But at the end of the day, don't take something that a lot of us got into for cost-effective reasons. Not all of us did, but a lot of us did. I'm kind of included in that. Like, I just didn't want to go out and spend 80 grand on a glitter rocket, and I wanted access to water, and this was an affordable way to do it. Although it still costs you about 5 grand to start. Don't take something that we really enjoy and attainable and make it unreachable to be a tournament fisherman. Bring it back down to the simpler levels. $45 entry fees for your local clubs and tournaments. Don't make them qualify for the KBF stuff. Let KBF have their hands and stuff, but like KBF was really, really smart. They started saying to all these local clubs that had good members, hey, you should be a KBF affiliate. And what that does is you're packaging up a product. So when you go to an FLW, you're like, look at all these people we have. Look at all this reach we have. And I'm going to be honest with you, I know more guys that I'm friends with and I'm not even friends with that are dropping out of tournaments because they're just, the vibe is gone. One last thing, because it's public news now, the Hobie Open happened up in Shasta. Greg Blanchard, if you're watching this, I know sometimes you comment on my videos, but like at the end of the day, congratulations, sir. You put in the work and effort and you really deserve that win. Everybody else who fished it, I heard you guys had a great time. So that's it. And by the way, that was $200 to get in too anyway. Hey, but you're going to Australia though, so that's a different thing. Thanks for watching these things. Look, I want you to comment down below on what you think about this whole partnership. I probably should have said that in the beginning of the video because most of you aren't watching it anymore. So I will see you soon, and this will be my 2 cents for this week, so I'm not doing another one. Thanks. Bye.